Niner fans, how are we doing? Good evening, good evening. We have so much to talk about tonight. Injuries, Debo Samuel, Micah Parsons, Cam Newton. There is so much to talk about. Brock Purdy, make sure you hit that like button. I'm going to put a quick 30-second intro. Make sure everybody gets in, and we are going to talk all about it tonight. We have a good show tonight. Let's go. Niner fans, how are we feeling today, man? What a day. Debo Samuel kept us entertained. Um, I'm hyped up. Beard Gang, rockin' Rashad. You know the vibes. Shout out to everybody that follows the page. Much love, much love. Make sure you hit that like button. Yo, shout out. We got a couple members on the YouTube page now. We have 3 members. So I want to say thank you to the official members of the 49ers, our SF 49ers live page. We do have memberships. If you guys want to support the page, appreciate it, man. It's pretty cool. You get the little color emoji. So shout out to all the members that have joined the new YouTube out here, and we're just pushing through. We're finally growing really good, and just want to say thank you. But let's get into it. Before we get into the Debo and all that stuff, because I got a lot of thoughts on that, and Michael Parsons and all that stuff. I want to talk about these injuries because the 49ers are entering a game against the Washington Commanders where they should be able to win, right? We all pretty much know the 49ers could win this game, but you know what? Unfortunately, there are a lot of injuries on the 49ers, and we do have to talk about those. Today, there was good news, though. Trent Williams avoided a serious injury, and he was limited in practice. To me, that was the biggest injury update of the day. The 49ers need Trent Williams. They need him. They cannot have no Trent Williams out there. They need him. So good news, Trent Williams is back at practice. He had the groin injury, so it wasn't too significant, and I'm not happy about that. So, a big news for the Washington Commanders, they are making a quarterback switch, and they're starting Jacoby Brissett this week. Their head coach, Ron Rivera, announced that they're going to start Jacoby Brissett. So, new quarterback, new team, new quarterback for the week. Jacoby Brissett, he's been a veteran in the league for many years. He's played on the Patriots before, the Colts. So, new quarterback for the 49ers. And a lot of people, Jacoby, he's the backup, this, that, the other. The 49ers have had a bad luck against backup quarterbacks. I hope that's not the case this week. They got to prepare. There's just no way the 49ers can lose this game. And again, big news that Trent Williams is back. They need this man so much. They needed Trent Williams back so bad. Again, limited. He had the groin, but it's nice to know that he's actually there. A surprising little injury report was that Debo Samuel, he ended up being limited today with the neck injury, but I'm sure he's okay. They're being precautious or being cautious, a little precautionary measure. But Debo was limited with the neck injury. Trent Williams was limited with the groin. Ambry Thomas dealing with the hamstring injury. He left the game last week against the Ravens because of the hamstring injury, but he was limited today. Javon Hargrave, also limited because of a hamstring. And Oren Burks, he has the knee issue. They said that a couple weeks ago that he's going to miss a few weeks because of the knee injury. He was limited today. So we'll see. That's a lot of players that are limited that they don't want to push out too much, And then not practicing. These are the guys that have been banged up and haven't been able to play. Arik Armstead, he has a foot injury, right? He's got the plantar fasciitis, and Kyle's kind of been a little concerned about him. Juwan Jennings, he's still in the concussion protocol. Aaron Banks, he has the turf toe. Kyle said he hopes that he's going to be able to come back to practice this week, but he did not practice today. And the rookie Jair Brown, this was kind of a surprise. He ended up with the sprained knee. He did not practice either. So Jair Brown banged up his knee. The secondary's kind of banged up right now. Maybe Jason Verrett can get more playing time. Your safety's depleted. You got Tashawn Gibson, and then Hufunga's out for the season. George Odom is out for a couple of weeks. So it's unfortunate. The 49ers have a lot of depth, injuries. in the secondary and the D line. So they're depleted right now. I know they have Isaiah Oliver, they got Sam Womack, they got a few players on their practice squad that they could call up. So we'll see. Jair Brown, rookie, he's been playing pretty well. You don't want to see him getting injured, but it is what it is. They got to keep these guys healthy for the stretch run. And Jalen Moore has a concussion that he suffered on Sunday. He's in the concussion protocol. So a lot of injuries. The offensive line is kind of banged up here. But today they did make some signings. They signed offensive lineman Matt Pryor to a 1-year deal. He was on the team earlier in the season, so they brought back Matt Pryor to the team. They waived Jeremy McNichols. They absolutely needed, some offensive line depth. So they went and signed Matt Pryor back to the team. He has experience, and boom, with all these O line injuries, they needed someone. Trent Williams dealing with the groin, Jalen Moore, concussion, and Aaron Banks with the turf toe. They grabbed him. So the 49ers also, there's a couple more some more updates. They signed offensive lineman Sebastian Gutierrez and Willie Snead to the practice squad. So they brought back Willie Snead after cutting him a couple days ago, and they signed another offensive lineman, Sebastian Gutierrez, to the practice squad. So they are loading up on depth on the O-line. They need it, man. And, they brought back Willie Snead to the practice squad in case Juwan Jennings can't play. Ray McLeod's already out. Another big key is the 49ers opened the practice window for Danny Gray. This is kind of big, right? Juwan Jennings is banged up. Ray McLeod is banged up. And now here comes Danny Gray, wide receiver, being inserted back into the lineup. Possibly they opened up his practice window. Maybe Danny Gray can come back and give the 49ers some needed depth. At the end of the day, this is a team that needs depth. You need players to go out there and execute, and let's see what Danny Gray can do. So a lot of injury news to catch up with. So we'll recap it in a minute, but I want to say shout out to Raphael 562 Niners. He gifted a live membership. Shout out to Raphael, man. Appreciate you, my boy. Thank you. This guy Raphael is a hell of a YouTube follower, man. He follows everybody. He's always great in the comments. He always likes people's YouTube videos, and he's always making sure people are interacting and always showing love. So thank you, Raphael. Appreciate the membership, my guy. You are a YouTube MVP, man. Love you. Christine says, Debo? We got to talk about Debo? Let's talk about Debo. But real quick, I want to recap these injuries in case you missed it. So I'm going to go over these real quick. Just going to go over them. So again, the 49ers signed offensive lineman Matt Pryor to a 1-year deal. They waived running back Jeremy McNichols. They signed offensive lineman Sebastian Gutierrez and Willie Snead to the practice squad. And they opened the practice window for Danny Gray. Good to know. Trent Williams back at practice in a limited capacity. Ambry Thomas, hamstring injury. He was limited. Deebo Samuel, neck injury, limited. Javon Hargrave, limited with the hamstring injury. Oren Burks, knee injury, limited. And not practicing today, Arik Armstead with the foot. Juwan Jennings, concussion. Aaron Banks with the toe injury. Jair Brown with the knee injury. Jalen Moore with the concussion. Did not practice. Man, hopefully the 49ers can get healthy. They need that number 1 seed big time. So I hope they can get that number 1 seed because they need to be rested up. They also released Ilm Manning, offensive lineman. The 49ers released Ilm Manning. They worked out a couple players, Ben Brown, Sebastian Gutierrez, who they signed, Lewis Kidd, and Grant Miller, according to Aaron Wilson. So busy day for the 49ers. A lot of players hurt, and it's not good. Rashad says, what are the chances they put in Ryan Logan in the game? Absolutely think they will put Logan Ryan in the game. I think that's a huge boost for the 49ers, right? They signed Eric Harris a couple weeks ago and Logan Ryan, and now with the injuries to the safety department, I think it makes all the sense in the world to bring in a guy like Logan Ryan. He's a veteran. He's played on the team for a few weeks now. I think he's got the defensive strategy and schemes up to par. So if Jair Brown can't play this weekend, I think there's a very high chance that Ryan Logan plays this week. So that's a good call. They signed him. He's a veteran. I think that guy right there stands in line to become a starter this week if Jair Brown can't play. So you got Gibson and Ryan. But another guy is Jason Verrett. Don't forget about Jason Verrett. He could probably go in there and help him out in a pinch, especially if Ambry Thomas, who has a hamstring injury, can't play. So this secondary is going to be really different this week. So, what's up, John V? What's going on, my man? I get Mario says, I guess Armstead not coming back to the playoffs. You know what? The more I think about it, I think you're right. You know, you rest him this week, you let his foot heal, you rest him the week after that against the Rams. If they can get the number one seed, then I think that yeah, you get the extra week, and Arik Armstead, boom, he'll be able to play. So you get 3 weeks of rest plus the couple of weeks he's already taken off. I think Arik Armstead needs this time, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen, Mario. I think he'll be back for the playoffs. If they can get that number one seed, it will be so clutch for Arik Armstead. But they need him, man. You can just see the difference this defense has without him out there. They absolutely need Arik Armstead. He's such a difference maker in the run game. So hopefully they can get him back, but it's not guaranteed. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, Christine, you're absolutely right. She says, I hope so, because he's a big loss. He's a huge loss. Having no Arik Armstead in this defense, we're seeing just exactly how good he is in the run defense department with him missing. But they did sign Sebastian Joseph Day yesterday. So that was a big news yesterday, right? That they signed another defensive lineman. And this guy is a very good defensive lineman in terms of stopping the run. So yesterday they signed Sebastian Joseph Day. And today he was at practice and he officially was signed to the roster today. The 49ers officially announced it. That is a huge signing because Arik Armstead is going to miss some time. And we don't know when he's going to come back because of the plantar fasciitis. So this guy, a very, very, very stout run defender. He's going to be thrown in there. And I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited for him too, Raphael. He says, I'm excited for the new signing. I'm really hyped to see this guy. He probably was going to be a depth piece, but now he's going to be starting for a couple of weeks. So we shall see. Speaking of we shall see, I'm hyped up about Deebo Samuel. I don't know about you guys, but Deebo Samuel stood on business today, like absolutely stood on business, 10 toes down. Now, the other thing about Deebo is he's fired up. He's pissed. Deebo is pissed off. He's pissed off. You know what happens when Deebo is pissed off? He plays angry. He plays decisive. He plays aggressive. He plays with fire in his belly. He plays with fire in a belly, right? No matter what. But now he's just got extra motivation. He's juiced. You got Cam Newton calling him out, right? Saying he's lying. Posted the receipts. This morning he said, why is Micah Parsons tweeting after getting beat by Miami, after getting beat by the 49ers, talking about how, Brock Purdy's not a good quarterback. And, last week on his podcast, he says, oh, I could do what Brock Purdy does, throw screen passes to Deebo. Like, this guy is, Gronkowski said it best today. He said that he's weird. The fact that he's sitting there talking all this nonsense when your team lost. Like, if you would have beat the team, if Micah Parsons and the Cowboys would have beat the Dolphins and they would have beat the Niners, yeah, you know what? You could stand and talk because nobody could sit there and take away the fact that your team won. But the fact that he lost, and then he tweeted down 21, there's no shots or development throws, should tell you all you need to know. Taking a cheap shot. He's took a cheap shot to Brock Purdy. Like, absolutely doesn't need to throw a shot. And then today, Robert Gronkowski says, that's weird. Why would you say that after you lost? And he says, the fact that he said that is just weird to say that about another guy. Parsons did respond, and he says it's weird to be talking about football on a broadcast, on a web page where you're, supposed to give your opinions. And Gronk says, yeah, okay, everybody has a platform now, but it is weird. Why are you talking when you got washed by both of those teams? Like, if you would have won, okay, whatever. But he lost to both of those teams. You have no leg to stand on. Micah Parsons, again, he got bodied so much today by Deebo. And then Gronkowski said that it's really weird. There's a saying, losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning. So Micah Parsons is a loser because he's just focusing on everybody else that's winning around him. He's not focused on winning. He's at a loser mentality. He's looking at all the winners and he's worried about what they're doing. If you're worried about everybody else, you're not going to have the energy to worry about yourself to win. Who cares what everybody else is doing? Worry about yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, you ain't going to be able to take care about anybody else. It's like if you have a child or a job or a business, whatever the case is, if you can't take care of yourself mentally and physically, how the hell are you going to run anything else? This man needs to focus on himself and stop worrying about Debo. Stop worrying about Gronkowski. Stop worrying about other players. Stop worrying about what the media thinks, because at the end of the day, you're losing. Nobody cares about you. You're irrelevant. All he does is he goes on his podcast and he yaps and yaps and yaps. That's what these athletes do now. Like, I get it. Hey, I'm here talking, giving my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but if that's all you're focusing on, your energy, you need to change your priorities. And then this is what Gronkowski finalized. This is what he also said. He says he's tweeting that about a team that absolutely dismantled the Cowboys when they played them this year. Exactly. You lost to the Dolphins. You lost to the Niners. Like, you got demolished by the Niners. And you're sitting here talking. And that's what Debo said. He goes, why is he bringing up our team? Why is he bringing up our name? Why does he keep talking about the 49ers? And then Debo, I love it. Debo said, you're worried about us so much. I think you want a Niners jersey. This is what Debo told him. He says, you're worried about us so much. You're worried about us so much you want a Niners jersey. Micah Parsons wants to be a Niner. That's all I can think of. If you're sitting here talking about the Niners and tweeting about the Niners and dreaming about the Niners and having like just visions about the 49ers floating in your head all day, you must want to be a 49ers player or a content. You want to do something with the Niners. That's all he talks about is the 49ers. Yeah, Christine says, like Debo said, he wants that Niners jersey bad. He wants the Niners jersey so incredibly bad. I gotta love it. VZ says, I like how Debo and Ayuk were encouraging Purdy on the sidelines after the mistakes. These are real ones for that. Yeah, man, this team is great. They said it, today. Debo Samuel also on the Up and Adams podcast. He took so much respect for Debo, but he said, "Look, Brock Purdy, he's the real deal. He has one bad game, and he said, look, everybody else when they have bad games, they give them excuses, they let it fly. But when the 49ers lose, the media is waiting for them to fall apart. The media has it against them. So he said it. He goes, we're still one of the best teams, still probably the best team in the NFC. But when it's the Niners that lose, it's everybody comes out of the woodwork because they're like, oh, you suck. It's because everybody's a hater. They're mad. They're jealous, whatever the case is. But he's right. Everybody was waiting. They were waiting, like with pitchforks. They were waiting for Brock Purdy to fail. They were waiting for the Niners to fail. Nobody wants to see the Niners shine. And I know we're saying this, we're Niner fans, but if you really look at the media, every time the Niners lose, oh, it's attack mode. It's like boom, 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 boom. Go after them. Go get them. Go get them. But if anybody else loses, look at the Chiefs. Oh, well, they don't have receiver. Oh, well, there's an excuse for every player. Josh Allen, he gets it. Well, Josh Allen still got a great arm, but there's an excuse. He throws 3 picks. Oh, well, Josh Allen's still better than all these quarterbacks. You could build a team around. Oh, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. This man's 9-6. He might not make the playoffs this year. Oh, but Patrick Mahomes he gets excuses. Well, that's on Andy Reid for not bringing in the damn talent. Okay? Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch brought in all the talent they needed. They got a quarterback that was the last pick of the draft who was better than everybody until last week. Oh, but once he fails, he's terrible. He's just a wash in the pan. It was an insanity run. People hate the Niners. It's crazy, man. They hate the Niners. Absolutely hate the Niners, and I don't get it. But I love it because guess what? We keep the receipts, we keep winning, and we bleach them out, and we make everybody look stupid. I love the Niners. Yeah. Depressed Niner fan. What's up, my boy? He says, everybody loves an underdog Cinderella story until it's about Brock Purdy. I think Chase Sr. said that best this week. He tweeted that out, and he said, I don't know why, but nobody likes Brock Purdy. He's the underdog that nobody likes. It's the underdog that nobody likes. Cosmo says, losers focus on winners, and winners focus on winning. That is a bar of a quote by Rob Gronkowski. I'm going to use that one in my day-to-day. That is such a good quote. Losers focus on winners. Winners focus on winning. Winners are always worried about how are you going to eat? How are you going to win? How are you going to get better? It's like in content creators. If you're a content creator, how are you going to be better? How are you going to get yourself better? You don't focus on the other people like, oh, man, I wish I would have done what he did. Oh, I wish I would have had that. No. Who cares about what the other people do? Worry about yourself. That's what you got to do. The NFL never wanted to give the MVP to Purdy, hence the decent amount of hate on him, says Blood Moon. That's a fair take. That's a fair take. I think you're right. They didn't want him to win. They were worried. NFL was worried that Brock was going to get it. They didn't want to give him the MVP. I think you're right. The Press Niners fan, my boy says, Raj, you need to set up Micah and Cam on a blind date together. They'll hit it off. I don't think it should be. It's not even going to be a blind date. They're probably tweeting each other right now. They're probably DMing each other. Those two are so loudmouth. I love it. Speaking of tweeting each other, speaking of talking and tweeting each other, did you see the messages that Debo Samuel is I love spicy Debo. I love Debo in general. You guys know we had to wear the Debo drip. We had to wear the Debo drip. Shout out to my boy Debo. But we're supporting him today. This man came with the receipts on Cam Newton. Cam Newton said, oh, Debo didn't call me. That's cap. Debo didn't call me. He didn't call me. Debo Samuel proceeded to drop the receipts on Cam Newton. He pulled. You do not want to mess with Debo Samuel. If you try to call out Debo Samuel, this man is going to wash you out. He's going to make you look like such an idiot. He will roast you. He will toast you. He will drag you through the mud. And that's exactly what he did to Cam Newton. He pulled out every receipt. Cam was talking to himself. Debo might have responded like twice. He said, who's this? Laughing at him like, who's this? Cam Newton was thirsty. He was a fan. Just like Debo said, he was talking to him like he was a fan. VZ's right. Debo will clap back, and he will clap back with a strike of thunder upon thee. He clapped him so bad. This man, Cam Newton, I don't know what you're talking about. It must have been somebody else. That's not me. Cam Newton's the only one that writes like that writes like a 15-year-old in high school. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. His, like, weird symbol typing text, it's so weird. And he's sitting there begging Debo to come on to his podcast, begging him. And Debo didn't respond to him. Begging him like a fan. That's how irrelevant Cam Newton is. Cam Newton's the real Mr. Irrelevant. Begging Debo. He's begging Debo. And then he gets mad because Debo called him out on Up and Adams today. I love it. Teresa says that he wanted attention. He absolutely wanted attention. He's begging because he's out of the spotlight. He wants to be in the spotlight so bad. He wants attention so bad for his podcast, right, to get the views up. And ultimately, he did what he sought out. He did what he sought out to do, right? He's getting views. He's in everybody's, mentions. That's what he wanted. But it is crazy. Shout out to my boy 49ers Throwback. He drops the $2 super chat. He says Micah Parsons and their fan base cries too much. The Dallas Cowboys cry. Micah Parsons cries. Everybody on that team is a bunch of crybabies. Cowboys such crybabies. And Parsons is the leader of crybabies. Like, if they like recasted. You guys ever watch the show Rugrats? I'm a 80s, 90s baby. I loved Rugrats. And if they recasted that show, Micah Parsons would damn straight be on Rugrats. This man is a baby. He would be on Rugrats. He's a baby. He's a Rugrat. Give him a pacifier. Give him some milk. And let him go hang out with Phil and Lil and Tommy Pickles. He's a baby. Biggest one of them all. What's up, Miguel? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing in the chat, man? What? Chucky. Yeah, he's Chucky. He is absolutely Chucky, the baby of the Rugrat. This man is he's Chucky, man. Bro's hanging out with Angelica. Oh, man. Rashad says Cam just wants the clout. That's all Cam wants. He just wants the clout, man. He absolutely just wants the clout, man. Good stuff. But how's everybody doing in the chat? Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the Niner fans. Love all the support. Make sure you hit that like button. Leo says Debo is always real no matter what. That's why everybody loves him. That's why you love Debo. He respects his teammates, his coaches. He has everybody's back. Like, if I was to go to war with anybody on the Niners, I want Debo by my side. Out of all the players, they have so many great players. I would be hyped as hell to have Debo by my side because he would have your back and he'd be rocking with you to the end, man. Debo, if you're in his circle, if you're good with Debo, nobody's messing with you, man. He has your back until it's over, man. Until the wheels fall off. Debo Samuel is the realest of the real. Absolutely, man. Christine says Trent and Debo. Yeah, Trent. If I'm going to a war with someone, I'm not gonna lie. Let me get Trent. Let me put him on my side. I'm going into an alleyway with Trent. Nobody's pulling up on us. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Cosmo says, you got to get up, dust yourself, and do it against the Commanders. Absolutely, man. I think this week they got to bounce back no matter the injuries. You got to come with the heat. You just got to take care of business, and you got to do it. Speaking of the Commanders, it's revenge week for Chase Young. He got traded a couple of months ago now, right, to the 49ers. When he left, there was a lot of like reports circling, a lot of like negative reports, negative publicity. Washington kind of pushed him out there. It's unfortunate because he was a defensive rookie of the year, very promising career, but he just never really took off with the commander with the Redskins, and then they turned into the Commanders. I think he's found a really big home with the 49ers, and I hope we keep him. And now I know a lot of people say he's not putting up stats. He's not putting up stats. His presence alone has just opened it up for Nick Bosa. Him and Randy Gregory have really helped. And I like Chase Young. You could tell he loves it here. The vibe is different. He's really brought in, new life to the 49ers. Him and Nick Bosa are great friends. But when he left, there was a report that says that Chase Young was viewed by some team coaches and organizational sources as an undisciplined player who developed bad habits, right? Such as deviating from assignments in an effort to make splash plays, according to a report from Mike Silver. So this is when he left, people were saying that he only cared about making like splash plays. He didn't care. He wasn't a team player. If you watch him on the Niners, Chase Young has been absolutely fantastic, a team player. He's doing everything he can to help this team. And, he's brought into the culture, man. I love Chase Young. This is a revenge game. They treated him poorly out in Washington, just like they did Trent Williams a couple of years back before he got traded to the Niners. I love it, man. I think Chase Young's going to go out and go dominate. Dominate. I think so. And live says they have a new quarterback. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. We struggle with backups. We do struggle with backups. But I think this is going to be a personal game for Chase, and I think he's going to go off. I think this is going to be the biggest game Chase Young's had for the 49ers. He is going to go off, man. He's going to go off. I think so. Chris says Chase Young has good intel on the Commanders. Absolutely. Depressed Niners fan says, Raj, was Jake hating on Purdy on your IG live? I don't care about him, but he gave me weird vibes, two-faced vibes. No, I don't think he was hating. I think some of it's part of. I think some of it he did was for the cameras. He wasn't hating. No, we talked behind the scenes, and he definitely wasn't hating. But I think he was just happy that he was right. Like the thing about Jake is he likes to make predictions. He likes to prove that he's right, that he knows things. And he was right. The 49ers lost to the Ravens. And he was right. Lamar was going to outplay Brock. So for him, he was boasting. He was like strutting like a peacock, right? He was like peacocking it. And he's like, I was right. You were wrong. He wasn't hating on Brock. Like he actually respects Brock. Like we text each other all the time. And he does respect Brock. But he definitely was hyping himself up a little bit. So my man 49er Fever says, appreciate you with the $2 super chat. Thank you, man. Thank you, 49er Fever. I appreciate you and everybody else on this chat and everybody else that supports the pages. I truly do, man. You guys are the best. So honestly, I got a lot of work. I do a lot of work. Physical therapist. I work at a clinic. I'm a home health therapist. I do a lot of that. This is my favorite thing I do every day, talking about the Niners, providing content. I want to do it more and more. So I love doing it, and I appreciate you guys. I was, even at the game, like I'm pushing content. I'm trying to get as much as I can. I go to games with people. Sometimes they're like, yo, chill. Aren't you going to watch the game? I said, I am watching the game, but I got to get the content. Got to get the content. I'm a busy man. Absolutely. Okay. Depressed Niner fan says, thanks for the clarification. Yeah, Jake's a cool dude, but it's hard when you're like not a Niner fan and then you come into a Niner chat. People are going to perceive you a certain way, but Jake's the man. My hustle is admirable. Hardworking dude, man. I've always worked since I was a young buck. Since I was like 15, 16, I've been working. So I don't know. That's just how my parents raised me. That's how they were. So yeah, that's how I do it. My man, California man says, happy birthday, Brock Purdy. Happy birthday, Brock Purdy. Happy birthday. You know what? People forget that Brock Purdy is only 24 years old. 24 years old. Do you guys remember when you were 24 years old? Some of you guys might not be 24, but it was a long time for me. It was a long time ago for me. I'm not going to tell you my age. If you know, you know. It's a long time ago. 24? I was just about to have a daughter. I was right when my daughter was born. If you know, you know. That's a long time ago. This man is 24 years old. He's closing in on the franchise record for passing yards by a 49ers quarterback. All time, man. This guy has 229 yards from passing Jeff Garcia's 4,278 yards in 2000. He's the first quarterback since Jeff Garcia to get 4,000 um, passing yards in a season. This is crazy, man. People forget. Second year, he's coming off a torn UCL surgery, right? The surgery to repair the UCL. This man has done so much in a short amount of time. He's the franchise. You're bound to have bad games. I love that the players, respect him and he's a leader. He had a bad game. You're going to bounce back. But you know how refreshing it is every day to sit here and not worry about quarterback? How many times do we sit here every year, off-season banter and on Twitter? Oh my God, we need a new quarterback. Jimmy's this, Trey Lance this. We need a new quarterback. Brian Hoyer, Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard. We spun our wheels. Now blessed to have a guy like Brock Purdy, who's 24, only going to get better. He plays like he's 34, veteran in the league. Happy birthday to freaking Brock Purdy, man. Oh, I hope he bounces back so much this week and tears the league apart. Shout out to my boy VZ. He says, how about that Debo and Montgomery collision? Thanks for the super chat. Bro, Debo Samuel is a bowling ball. You have to imagine how hard it is to tackle. But this dude, Hamilton, bounced off of him. Today on the Up and Adams show, he talked about that play. He says that was the hardest yak he's ever had to get in the NFL. He says that was the hardest play ever that he had. He gained yards after the catch. He says that was a monster of a hit. But this man is so physically gifted. He's just a monster, man. He's physical. He just can't take him down. But that hit was like running into a wall. Boom! And he just fell right off. That's how Debo is. And he tried to take over the game at that moment. I just remember with Debo, you could tell he wanted so bad. He wanted it so bad. After the game, he swapped jerseys with OBJ. You could just see it in the face. You could see it in his face that he was mad that they didn't win. He was mad because he gave it his all. But he knows. I think Debo wished he would have had a better performance. That's why I'm excited to see Debo in these next couple of games, this playoff push. I think we haven't even seen the best version of Debo yet this season. I got a lot of respect for Debo, as you know. This offseason, when he said that he sucked, he's never going to put that type of film on tape again, ever again. He says, I don't want to ever have that on film ever again. He is incredible in the fact that he's worked so hard to make sure that he's the best version of himself. And now, angry Debo, spicy Debo, whatever you want to call it, he's going to take this team to new heights. I could feel it. This week, I could feel he's going to explode because he's talked his trash. When Debo talks trash, he backs it up because he doesn't want to come on Monday and look like an idiot. If he talks trash, he's going to back it up. And that play right there, when I saw Debo's coming out with the new. He's going to come out and come for blood the rest of the season. But that play was insane. He's like a bowling ball. He made Humphrey look like crazy after that. I mean, just bounced him. But shout out to Debo for giving props to Humphrey because he did say that was the hardest earned yak of his entire career. So, this is a good point. VZ says Debo has more motivation having a son. He does, man. When you have kids, it gives you all the motivation. That's what you work for. That's what I work for, making sure she has food over her head and a roof over her head, or food on her belly and roof over her head. And you could tell Debo, it was his birthday, his son's birthday today. Shout out to Debo's young son, the young prince, Debo's son. He's got the same birthday as Brock Purdy, man. That's crazy, actually. His quarterback and his son have the same birthday. But you could tell he posts about his son so much. When he's at the game, he always makes sure that he picks up his son and he loves him so much. Debo's a hell of a father. And, he plays extra hard for his son. So, yeah. What about Patrick Willis being selected? Shout out to Patrick Willis, the legend of the 49ers. We all know how great Patrick Willis was. Today, he was named as a finalist, one of 15 finalists for the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame, man. Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. He better get in this year. This year, there's no way that he doesn't get in. I've been waiting for this man to get in the Hall of Fame for years, but they better do it. He deserves it. This guy was an incredible player, an incredible player. I mean, his pregame speeches alone give you chills. I hope he gets in. This is the list of the 15 players selected to the finalists for the class of 2024. So Antonio Gates, he's got to get in. He's one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Julius Peppers, he might get in. Devin Hester, the greatest return man of all time. Torrey Holt, he was good. Reggie Wayne, you got to get Reggie Wayne in. Andre Johnson, he was good too. This whole class is crazy. Jared Allen, he was great. Patrick Willis, Fred Taylor, Dwight Freeney, Darren Woodson, Rodney Harrison, Jari Evans, Eric Allen, and Willie Anderson. Damn, that's a hell of a class. If I had to guess, Antonio Gates, Julius Peppers, I'll say Reggie Wayne. I don't know if Andre Johnson gets in this year. I think Patrick Willis and maybe Torrey Holt gets in. Those are the guys I think. Maybe Dwight Freeney too. That's a hell of a class. That's a hell of a pro football class. So we'll see. He should have been in already. I agree. Day Walker says, is Jordan Mason healthy and will Shanahan ever use him correctly? He is healthy. I don't know if Shanahan will ever use him correctly. I think he should be utilized more as a running back too and give him more carries, take some pressure off CMC. But then when you watch the games and you see a game like Sunday, just give the damn ball to CMC. Like it now, I can see why Shanahan just doesn't give the ball to anybody else because CMC, he can take over a game. Like during this Sunday's game, in the moment while watching it, we were all sitting there going, just give the damn ball to CMC. Like you could just see his energy, like it radiates on the field. He's good, man. It's hard to not give the ball to CMC. Although Kyle Shanahan found a way not to give him the ball this week. But I digress. But what I'm saying is when he gets the ball in his hand, he gets so much more yards than any running back can get. But I do think they should give Mason some carries. If they do, whenever they give a running back that's not Christian McCaffrey the ball, just make it be Jordan Mason. That's my take on it. But man, when Christian McCaffrey touches that ball, it's money. So they should have fed him more this weekend, but it is what it is. That game's passed. We're not worried about it anymore. Definitely give the ball to Jordan Mason more. Terrence, my man, says, what's your bold prediction? What's your bold prediction Sunday versus Washington? Bold prediction? I haven't even thought about it yet, honestly, but I'll give you one. I think George Kittle goes and has a monster game, 150 yards receiving. George Kittle's on pace. He's about to break 1,000 yards for the season, and he's the leading tight end in the NFL in terms of like almost every stat category. George Kittle, man, he's quietly having one of his best seasons of all time. This guy's a monster. He's finally getting utilized the way he should, and that's because Brock Purdy knows how to use George Kittle. I think George Kittle goes for 150 yards, probably a touchdown. I think he's going to go absolutely nuclear this week. And I think Chase Young gets 2 sacks. Those are my early bold predictions. Flood says my wife only has one Niners jersey, and it's Patrick Willis, her favorite player. Many people love Patrick Willis. Like you go to the games, and Patrick Willis jerseys are still in abundant. You see them in abundance. Whenever I go to Niner games, I see a lot of Patrick Willis jerseys. He's a legend. So, Showboat says, so glad Trent is okay. Me too. That was great news for the day. Chris says only 14 run plays for CMC against the Ravens. Yeah, it's scratching my head. Ariel says, I really don't understand what Kyle Shanahan's game plan was or what he was trying to do is absolutely baffling. You know what? I don't either, but there were a lot of people that said he was trying to play this game kind of coy, trying not to give his absolute game plan away. I feel like, I don't know if that's the case, because if he was trying to lose this game, or not trying to lose, but trying to like purposely not tip his hat too much for if they have a rematch later down the line, that's silly. You still play to win the game. But a lot of people are saying he wasn't trying to show all his cards. I just think he got out coached by Harbaugh. So we'll see. Shout out to my man John V. He says, appreciate the super chat. Shout out to my boy John from the Locker Room Rant. This guy's a real one. Last year when this page wasn't doing good, my YouTube, and I was struggling, we sat here and talked for an hour after we streamed one day, and he really gave me a lot of good advice and really words of wisdom, and I appreciate this guy a lot. I appreciate so many people, but he's one of them ones that really kind of pushed me to keep going, because I almost stopped YouTube. I almost quit, man. I'm glad I didn't. He says, take my money, My dude, I'm so happy to see you get those streets figured out, and they're finally paying you. My guy, glad to see the channel monetized. You don't even know how hard I worked on this damn YouTube. It took me a long time to get this channel where it needs to get. It is still not where I want it to be because you know me, I'm a perfectionist. I want to keep working, but it is definitely nice to sit here and see my page growing the way I want it to grow. And, shout out to my boy John, man. You are a awesome dude. I just remember that chat we had. This was like a year ago. We were sitting here and I was mentally depressed. I was like, dude, this page is never gonna make it. My YouTube keeps getting like flagged. They keep on saying, no, you can't be a part of the YouTube partner program. And I deleted all my content. Like I was pissed because I put so much work. I like quit one of my jobs to put in so much effort into this page and it just wasn't going the way I was going. I was mentally in a very dark place. But my boy John kept on saying, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. There was other people too, but he was one of them that just says, keep going and you're gonna get it. And we're here, man. So thank you, John. Appreciate you, man. I really, really, really appreciate you, man. You're the real MVP. So my man Blood Moon says, what do you think is going through Brock's mind, especially now seeing Debo having his back the way he did? You know what? I think Debo has always had his back, and I think Brock always knows these guys have his back. They sit there, they're in the locker room together. I think this team absolutely adores Brock. He's great. They know they've had bad games. Like, he's not the only one that's had bad games. Debo's had bad games. He's had bad seasons. Patrick Willis, a Hall of Famer, he's had bad games, believe it or not. Fred Warner, Debo Samuel, or not Debo, Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, every single one of these players, George Kittle, every single one of these players on this team know what it is to have failure. And they know they got to keep each other's back because they're a team, they're a family. And I think Brock respects the hell out of Debo and everybody else on this team. And I think in his mind, he knows that, you know what, I got the support of my team, my family, and my coaches. And, that's all that matters. Who cares about the outside noise? Who cares what everybody thinks? Because like Gronkowski said, losers focus on winners. Focus on winning. And Brock Purdy is a winner. He's going to focus on winning. So that's where I think his mind is, man. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to my boy Debo, though. He's great. Showboat says, concerning 49ers against AFC teams, no bueno. Yeah, let's hope those fortunes change, right? The their 4 losses have been pretty bad. Three of those losses were AFC North teams. So let's just hope if they get to the playoffs, they don't have to play those damn teams. Ravens, Browns, Steelers, or Bengals. Those teams have absolutely crushed the 49ers, except the Steelers. That was a competitive game until the second half. So we'll see. Those teams have really been bullies to the Niners. I think that's what happened. They were just bullies. The press Niners fan says, who do you see in the AFC that could take the Ravens down to the playoffs? You know what? Honestly, I think they're too strong. Their defense is good. Their run game is good, but they don't have Mark Andrews. That might be an issue later. Everybody keeps saying that, the Chiefs are dangerous. You know what? I don't see it this year. I think Patrick Mahomes has come back to earth. Travis Kelce's too preoccupied with Taylor Swift. He's busy with the females. Sometimes the females just got to keep him at bay. Andy Reid, it's not his best season. I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh well, you can't count out the Chiefs." I don't think they're scary this year. Like, yes, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but they got no receivers. Their defense is I don't know. Maybe they'll turn it up a notch in the playoffs. I think the Ravens are the team to beat in the AFC. The Dolphins, we'll see how they look this week. That's going to be the matchup that really determines the AFC seeding is Miami Dolphins and the Ravens. But I still don't think the Dolphins are going to be able to beat the Ravens. I just think the Ravens are too physical. From the moment the whistle blows, they're too strong. I don't think Josh Allen is going to win in the playoffs. The guy chokes like nobody's business. I don't think anybody can challenge the Ravens. Everybody else in that division is kind of mid, right? The Broncos just benched Russell Wilson. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to cut him. Raiders, I don't think they're going to make it. If they do, can they beat them? The Jaguars, the Colts, the Texans, none of those guys have a realistic chance of beating the Ravens. Ravens, they are the team of the AFC. I think if they can beat the Dolphins this weekend, they're going to sail to the Super Bowl. So we'll see. We will see. My man Red Eye, what's up, Red Eye? I haven't seen you in the chat for a minute. He says 1 out of 4 wins versus the AFC North. Ironic, the Niners beat the Steelers, but the Steelers beat the Ravens. They faced them again in Week 18. Yeah, it's crazy. That AFC North really beat the crap out of the Niners, man. Again, the Cleveland Browns defense is tough. It's physical. That's what happened. The Browns, or not the Browns, the Bengals, same thing. They diced them. They diced them, and then yeah, the Ravens. So we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting. And then the 49ers, after the Washington Commanders, they got a tough test against the Rams. The Rams are streaking at the right time. But you know what I hope? I hope and pray the Rams win this week because I want them to be like, oh boy, if we beat the 49ers, we're going to the playoffs. Because then I want the 49ers to stomp on their stole, crush them, crush their hearts, crush their LA hearts, knock them out of the playoffs. That's what I hope happens for week 18. 49ers, Rams, Niners take care of business and send those boys packing back to LA. Red Eye says Miami is a mid defense, no match for the Ravens. Yeah, I agree. They have not faced a team like the Ravens at all. Their good game was against the Cowboys, and we know the Cowboys are frauds. So I agree with you. The Dolphins defense, I don't think they're good enough to even stand a task against the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to tear them up, but it'll be a fun game. Yeah, Showboat says that Stafford is playing well. He is. They're playing great. Puka, Cup, Kyron Williams, he's really emerged as one of the top running backs in the league. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun game. So, my man, depressed Niners fans not having it for LA. Yeah, F LA, man. I hate LA. I live in the Bay, so we know the Bay is better than the LA. But, man, I can't stand LA, especially living in the Bay. So, yeah. Any case, you guys have a good rest of your day. We're going to wrap this up. If you guys have any other questions real quick, drop them in there. We'll do a couple more minutes, maybe one more or two more questions here. We'll wrap it up. But again, appreciate the support. Thanks for everybody that, showed me love tonight. Thanks for the super chats. And thank you for all the members that, purchased the membership today. Shout out to my boy, Raphael562, new member of the YouTube channel. And again, thank you to everybody that's supporting the page. Trying to grow this just like we grew the Instagram. And we'll see how it goes. But big game, Washington week. Got to focus up. Hopefully they can get healthy as the week rolls on into Washington. But right now, injuries don't look too hot. My man Brown Panda says, I think the Bills may have a chance to beat the Ravens if Allen uses his head and doesn't force throws per usual. But see, that's the thing. Allen is going to – I just can't trust him to not mess up. You know what I mean? So Ariel says the exciting thing is that the Niners are absolutely pissed off after the Ravens lost. They're going to take it out on these next two opponents, especially the Rams. You know what? That is one of the best points I've heard all day. The Niners are pissed. When you have a Niners team that's angry, watch out. The rest of the league is going to watch. That's what I'm thinking about Debo. Like, Debo is absolutely pissed off. I love it. Day Walker says, do you foresee the Niners letting Juice go, even though the team and the fans like him? It's going to come down to the financials. I could see him being here for maybe another year. He's so important to this team. I know he doesn't do a lot of things statistically wise, but he's like an extra lineman out there. I know they got some guys that they're trying to develop at fullback if they're ready, Jack Coletto, but I think Juice has maybe one more year left with them. He's a former Raven himself. That was one of the biggest free agent signings the 49ers had. Crazy. When Kyle Shanahan first came to this team, that first offseason, he got Kyle Juszczyk, and people are like, wow, they paid a fullback. How much money? He's been worth every penny, man. But I could see him staying for at least another year. Live says, love your show. You and your family have a good night. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I hear you, but you got to be humble. I didn't think we were going to lose the Ravens, to be honest. You know what? I didn't think we were going to lose to them because it was Christmas, but going into that game, now that I look back at it, I think we were a little too cocky, not only as fans, but I think the players might have been a little bit too cocky because, the Ravens, they came in and smacked the Niners around. I think, again, they had a chip on their shoulder, and they used that as fuel. And you're right. You do have to be humble. You can't overlook any opponent. Washington, even though on paper they look like a terrible team compared to the Niners, you just never know. Injuries, too. So I agree. Any case, you guys have a good rest of your night. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you. Much love. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow night with my boy Aaron, 49ers First Takes. We got our show, I think 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific. Should be around the same time as we usually do. And then Friday night prediction show with my boy Bash. Appreciate you. Take care of yourself. Shout out to everybody that was on the show tonight. Love you. Bang, bang. Nine again.